Alright friends, a big hello to everyone. Today we have the jpt60m7 machine, a machine I'm familiar with, specifically the M7 with the letter E, not E2 by any means, a rubber engraving test. We'll do a zero print, again to test how well it's gonna work or not. Now we'll do some photo engraving on stainless steel, a simple one and a complex one. Then polycarbonate as well, a special plastic for photo printing. And I'll do a 3D engraving test. So a 16 by 20 icon. It doesn't physically fit, but everything seems clear, readable, and detailed. There's little light, the conditions are Spartan, but we got a decent result. Next test is a more complex photo engraving. We'll make it a bit more difficult than this one. Let's see how that turns out as well. So overall, it worked out too. Well, again, in theory, in practice, let's say, if we tweak the tones a bit, adjust the contrast, it'll be quite good too. Now, I'm not quite happy with it. I know it can be done better, but that's for next time. So basically, everything seems fine here. Next up, we'll have some anodized aluminum. Let's see what it can do with that. Here, of course, I decided to go all out, tested several options on the f1.63 lens. It didn't work, but we finally got a result. I didn't like the quality here, plus it took long, plus we didn't outline, but over here, everything turned out great. The size of this model is only 15 millimeters. Everything's readable here, all the tiny letters are quite easy to read. The coat of arms of the Republic of Belarus. It looks quite good on the anodized aluminum, so, well, I think for a machine like this, it's more than enough. To engrave specifically in black on any anodized aluminum without any major issues. Let's look at the color refraction, like we did right here on another machine, but on the 60M7. Same story. These hexagons were all tested, so all of this is possible in theory, and it turns out quite well. A lot of tests were done right here. The results, well, they were more or less consistent. Now we'll go through and look at them under regular layers. Then, the continuation of our test was this part. Here we got some interesting refraction colors. Well, it turned out quite well too. Further tests were done right here. Everything looks cool too. Quite aesthetic and classic. It all glows differently from different angles, accordingly. And this was our finale here. There's a result too, but it's a bit strange, of course. I won't burn anymore because basically, I'll save the parameters for myself. So maybe these will come in handy sometime in the future. Let's go take a look at them under some regular lamps. So did it work out or didn't I? Let's look closely. This one worked. It's iridescent, and the colors turned out interesting too. The whole thing looks pretty unusual, but it'll do, let's just say. Nothing really came out right here. We ran a lot of tests here, many different experiments. Moving on, our next tests were this bottom row right here. Here, well, it looks very cool and very interesting. The colors are also quite varied. The next experiments were done over here. Same story, it all looks really great, and this isn't heat tinting, it's actually the color of refraction, just like what was done in this part. So, it's the same principle, but the effect is applied in a completely different way, let's say. It takes a very long time to do, but it looks quite fancy. Alright, and at the end I made one more test plate like this. It turned out like garbage. So we'll stick with these options. I'll definitely save these for myself. It'll all be in the database of layouts and templates. For the training material and those who purchase equipment from us will get access to this database. Let's move on. I hope you've already guessed that photo engraving on documents or ID badges isn't always good. It depends directly on the plastic, the material, the laser being used, and the photosensitive surface. This one didn't turn out great, but over here everything worked out well. The photos are high quality, detailed, with no burn marks or anything. I mean, it looks super. The issue depends directly on whether you need to do it with or without a background. Basically, the laser engraves quite excellently. For these kinds of photo engraving orders on ID badges and badge making, this machine is more than suitable. Let's start from the beginning. First, I basically just didn't give a damn about this whole situation. I made a total piece of junk. I filmed the video, then I thought, well, that's not right. It needs to be done beautifully, with quality and care. I made a second video. I cared even less, but I did fix a few things. It got a bit better. We're going to take a look at those too. And in the end, I felt ashamed that I'd messed up. So I made the final video with a good print. Regarding this machine and the printing, let's look at all the possible options. Let's set the value to 3. Moving over here, let's see. Everything's burned here because I realized I didn't set up Start TC laser off. It cut through everything, but well, something came out. I don't remember exactly which is which, but well, one of the next options, this was probably the first option, it burned completely. Everything here is totally scorched. And this little test template. The bottom cubes. No, actually, this was probably the second option. The first one definitely burned. Yeah, the first one burned completely. There. And finally, our second one was a bit more lively. I ran a couple more experiments. On this side, I started testing possible processing options. Burning, Start TC, laser off, blackening, where the ignition starts, where it ends. I did another test and another, made a few turns and rotations, then realized it was all total garbage and ended up with this option. By the way, I haven't seen it myself yet. Let's take a look together now. Actually, everything's burned here too, but that's not the point. The point is that more or less, the direction was right, and we were already practically very close to the finish. Can you burn stamps on a machine like this? In theory, yes. Will the quality be good? In theory, also yes, but you really have to mess around with the settings. There's another piece of equipment, specifically a marker, that can do it clearly. All these engravings in detail without burning the rubber. Accordingly, so the cubes here almost worked out, but it needed a little more fine-tuning. It's late evening, everyone's heading home, and I don't want to stay here late. So I just said screw it too, basically. What I did as is. Maybe in the future I'll do a test on another machine, show how it's done as simply as possible. I mean, here we have to do a bit of a song and dance, but on other equipment it's much easier to do. It's also missing Start TC, Laser Off, NTC, Polygon TC settings, finer adjustments, and then running tests. In this kind of format, like I did here, burning cubes at different angles, different formats. And we'll get the corresponding result. Now, the final word on this equipment, I'll tell it like it is. These are machines I'm familiar with, meaning machines that work well and perform all their tasks properly. Basically, clear parameters, clear specs. There's no overheating of the source, no glitches, no jumps or changes, meaning they'll work with the galvanometric scanner. So you set up the equipment and you can basically start burning. We sell these machines, I'll leave links, all down there in the description under the videos. From you, as always, a big thumbs up. I have more detailed information. Again, on this equipment, you can process metals, you can process plastics. We exclude glass here, we exclude organics, we leave some types of polymers, paint coatings, some types of stone. Practically 99% of metals can be engraved. So basically, work on painted anodized aluminum. It must be painted. Regular aluminum isn't engraved on almost any machine, except for UV lasers, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, again, some types of rubber. Some people use rubber for wheels. Specifically, this kind of rubber, let's say the black one that burns really well. Some people use rubber, like I do for example, Trodat or Collip. So if you want, you can work with anything. That's it guys, and as always, peace, prosperity, and bye everyone.